The cold metal of the safe door chills my fingertips, even through the sick dread coiling in my stomach. I punch in the code, the familiar beeps echoing too loudly in the quiet bedroom. The tumblers click, a sound that usually brings a small comfort, a sense of security. Today, it sounds like a gunshot in the silence. The door swings open, and I see it. Emptiness. Not just a missing piece or two. Everything.
Gone.
My grandmother's engagement ring, the diamond glittering like a trapped star. My mother's pearls, creamy and luminous, worn on her wedding day. Generations of whispers, of love, of history, nestled in velvet boxes. Now just air. A hollow, mocking void where my heritage used to be. My breath catches, a ragged, painful thing. My knees feel weak. This is impossible. This can't be happening. If you've ever felt that sickening drop, that moment where the world tilts and nothing makes sense, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps me share these moments, these stories, more than you can imagine. Just last week, life was normal. Predictable, even. Mark and I had our routines. Coffee together in the morning, him scrolling through news feeds, me planning my day. Weekends were for errands. Dinners out sometimes, comfortable silences filled with the unspoken rhythms of a decade-long marriage. We weren't wildly passionate anymore, perhaps, but I thought we were solid. Stable. I'm a planner, a list maker. My life, until this moment, felt like a neatly organized spreadsheet. The jewelry, that was my link to the women before me. My grandmother, stern but with a hidden well of kindness, her ring a testament to a love that weathered wars and hardship. My mother, gentle and artistic, her pearls a symbol of quiet elegance. They weren't just objects. They were stories, talismans. I kept them locked away, taken out for special occasions or sometimes just to hold them, to feel that connection, that tangible piece of my past. Mark knew what they meant to me. He'd even admired them, early in our relationship, commenting on their timeless beauty. He understood. Or so I thought. The reason I even went to the safe today feels like a cruel joke. My cousin's wedding is next month. A big family affair. I'd planned to wear Grandma's sapphire brooch, a deep, velvety blue that always reminded me of her eyes. I'd pictured it pinned to my dress, a small nod to our family's enduring strength. The thought now feels like a shard of glass in my chest. I sink to the floor, the plush carpet doing nothing to cushion the impact of this new reality. My head is spinning. Burglary? But nothing else is touched. The emergency cash I keep tucked in the back is still there. My laptop, my iPad, all in plain sight in the study. No forced entry. The alarm system was on last night. It's always on. This wasn't a stranger. The realization hits me with the force of a physical blow, winding me. Only 2 people know the code to this safe.
Me.
And Mark. My hands are shaking so violently, I can barely dial his number. It rings, each tone an eternity. Hey, what's up? His voice, casual, cheerful. The sound of it grates against my raw nerves. How can he sound so normal when my world is imploding? Mark. I manage, my voice a thready whisper. The jewelry. It's gone a pause. Just a beat too long. What jewelry? What are you talking about? His feigned confusion is a clumsy, transparent thing. My family jewelry, Mark. From the safe. It's all gone. I hear a faint clatter in the background, like he's dropped something. Gone? Are you sure? Maybe you misplaced it. You know how you get when you're stressed, gaslighting. The accusation, subtle but clear, that I'm unreliable, forgetful. My anger, a cold, slow burn, starts to flicker to life amidst the shock and grief. Misplaced generations of heirlooms? Mark, don't be ridiculous. The safe is empty. Okay, calm down, he says, his tone shifting to placating, condescending. I'm sure there's a simple explanation. I'll be home in a bit. We'll look together, a simple explanation. The words hang in the air, heavy with unspoken possibilities. I end the call, my mind racing. What simple explanation could there be? Did he move it for safekeeping without telling me?
Why?
It makes no sense. I pace the bedroom, a caged animal. Every glance at the open, empty safe is a fresh stab of pain. I try to retrace my steps, my recent memories. When was the last time I opened it? A few months ago, for my aunt's birthday dinner. I wore the pearl earrings. Everything was there, intact. Mark has been different lately. More preoccupied. Working late more often, though his projects at the firm didn't seem to warrant it. Phone calls taken in other rooms, hushed conversations that ended abruptly when I walked in. I'd brushed it off. Midlife stress, I'd told myself. We all go through phases. The excuses I'd made for him now feel flimsy, pathetic. He arrives home an hour later, his expression carefully neutral. He walks straight to the safe, peers inside, lets out a low whistle. Wow, you're right. It's completely empty. He turns to me, his brow furrowed in mock concern. We need to call the police. This is a robbery. My gaze doesn't waver from his. Is it Mark? There's no sign of forced entry. Nothing else is missing. Only the things that meant the world to me, the things with significant monetary value. He scoffs, a harsh, ugly sound. What are you implying? That I had something to do with it? After all these years, that's what you think of me. He tries to sound wounded, indignant. But his eyes don't quite meet mine. There's a flicker, a hesitation. I see it. He's lying. The certainty of it settles deep in my bones, cold and hard. The police come. They ask questions, take notes. Mark plays the role of the concerned husband perfectly. He talks about the sentimental value, his voice laced with false sympathy. He even puts a comforting arm around my shoulder, a gesture so insincere it makes my skin crawl. Answer their questions mechanically, my mind a maelstrom. They classify it as a burglary, noting a lack of forced entry as unusual. They promise to investigate, but their expressions are not encouraging. These kinds of things are hard to solve, the older officer says, his voice kind but pragmatic. Especially with no witnesses, no obvious leads. As they leave, Mark closes the door, a sigh escaping his lips. Well, that was awful. I can't believe this happened. He tries to hug me. I step back. Don't touch me, Mark. His face hardens. Oh, here we go. You're actually blaming me for this. I don't know what I'm blaming you for, Mark. Not yet. But something isn't right. The days that follow are a blur of suspicion and a sickening, hollow ache. I go through the motions of life, but everything feels tainted. Sleep is elusive. When I do drift off, I dream of the empty safe, of my grandmother's disappointed face. Mark is either overly solicitous or sullen and withdrawn. He helps me search the house, looking in ridiculous places, exclaiming over every drawer we open that contains nothing. See? Not here, he'd say, with an air of proving his innocence. It's a performance, and a bad one at that. I start digging. Quietly. Methodically. I check our joint bank accounts. No unusual large withdrawals, but there are more frequent cash machine visits than usual. Small amounts here and there. Nothing that would raise an immediate red flag on its own, but patterns emerge. Late nights, he claimed, were at the office. His car's GPS history, which I check when he's in the shower, sometimes shows him miles away, in a part of town we never frequent. The small lies pile up, forming a mountain of deceit. I find a receipt for a dinner I wasn't at, tucked into his coat pocket. 2 mains, 2 glasses of expensive wine. He told me he was working late that night, grabbing a sandwich at his desk. Each discovery is a small death, the erosion of the man I thought I knew. The grief for my jewelry is immense, but it's slowly being overshadowed by a new, more terrifying grief. The loss of my marriage, my trust, the very foundation of my life. I feel like I'm walking through a fog, the edges of my reality blurring. Who is this man I've shared my bed with for a decade? One rainy Tuesday, when he's supposedly at a conference an hour away, I see him. I'm driving home from a fruitless visit to a pawn shop, one of many I've started to frequent with faded photographs of my heirlooms, when I spot his car, parked outside a trendy new boutique in a recently gentrified neighborhood. A place I've never seen before. Lumiere, the sign proclaims in elegant gold script. A women's clothing and accessories store. My heart hammers against my ribs. What is he doing here? I park across the street, my hands slick on the steering wheel. I watch. After a few minutes, he emerges, laughing, his arm around a woman. She's younger, blonde, stylishly dressed. She looks up at him, her expression adoring. He leans down, kisses her. Not a friendly peck.
Aling garing, inte mitt kish.
The world stops. The rain on the windshield, the traffic noise, everything fades to a dull roar in my ears. It's like watching a scene from a movie, detached, unreal. But the pain is viscerally real, a hot knife twisting in my gut. He opens the car door for her, then gets in the driver's side. They drive off, oblivious to my presence, to the wreckage they've just made of my life. I sit there for a long time, the rain streaking down the glass like tears.
The boutique. Lumière. Light.
What a cruel irony. My mind races, connecting dots that were previously obscured by disbelief. The late nights, the hushed calls, the cash withdrawals, the jewelry. Oh God, the jewelry. A sudden, sickening certainty washes over me. He didn't just steal it. He sold it. He sold my family's legacy to fund this woman, this shop. The audacity of it, the sheer, cold-blooded betrayal, takes my breath away. My grief morphs into something else. A cold, hard rage. A determination so fierce it burns away the fog of sorrow. He won't get away with this. He will not destroy my past and then build a shiny new future on its ruins with my family's treasures. Not if I can help it. The planner in me, the list maker, the woman who believed in order and justice, awakens. The game has changed. He thinks he's won. He has no idea what's coming. My first instinct is to confront him, to scream, to shatter the facade of our life with the ugly truth. But then, a chilling clarity descends. A public explosion would give him the chance to play the victim, to twist the narrative.
No.
I need proof. Irrefutable proof. Not just of the affair, but of what he did with my jewelry. If he sold it, there's a paper trail. Or perhaps something even more damning. What if some of it is in that boutique? The thought sends a shiver down my spine, a mix of horror and a grim, burgeoning sense of opportunity. Over the next few weeks, I become a detective in my own life. I hire a private investigator, a discreet professional recommended by a lawyer I consult secretly. The PI is expensive, but the cost is nothing compared to what I've already lost. He's good. He uncovers Mark's financials, separate accounts I never knew existed. Significant sums have been moving through them. He confirms the woman's identity, Amelia. The boutique, Lumière, is registered in her name, but the seed money, the PI suspects, came from an untraceable source. Untraceable, perhaps, unless you know what to look for. I start visiting Lumière, pretending to be a casual browser. The first time, my heart pounds so hard I fear Amelia will hear it. She's there, all smiles and practiced charm, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. The boutique is sleek, minimalist, filled with expensive, trendy items. And then I see it. In a glass display case, nestled amongst other vintage-inspired pieces, a delicate gold locket. My gray Tance locket. My breath hitches. I stare at it, my reflection a pale, ghostly image on the glass. It's unmistakable. The tiny, intricate engraving of a swallow on the front, the almost invisible scratch near the clasp that only I would know. It's priced at an exorbitant amount, marketed as a rare antique find. Rage, cold and pure, courses through me. He didn't just sell them to some anonymous pawnbroker. He gave them to her, to display, to sell. The sheer, galling arrogance of it. I fight back the urge to smash the case, to snatch it back. I need to be smart. I take a discreet photo with my phone. Over several more visits, I identify other pieces. A pair of Art Deco earrings my mother adored. A filigree bracelet. Not everything is there, but enough. Each sighting is a fresh wound, but also a piece of the puzzle, a nail in the coffin I'm building for Mark's lies. The PI corroborates my findings, tracing some of the initial inventory purchases for the boutique back to channels that deal in estate jewelry, but the key pieces, my pieces, seem to have been introduced without a clear purchase record for the shop, as if they were personal contributions. The lawyer advises me that proving he stole them, rather than just marital assets he improperly disposed of, will be crucial. The fact that they were heirlooms, passed down specifically to me, documented in my mother's will, which I thankfully have, strengthens my claim. They were never ours, they were always mine. The emotional toll is immense. I'm living a double life. Polite, distant wife at home. Avenging angel in secret. Mark seems oblivious, wrapped up in his new life, his new love. He's more cheerful than he's been in years, a cruel parody of happiness built on my pain. He probably thinks I've accepted the burglary, that I'm moving on. He underestimates me. He always has. The deepening crisis isn't just about the jewelry anymore. It's about my identity, my future. He's trying to erase me, to replace me, using the very symbols of my heritage. I feel like I'm drowning, but every time I see another piece of my family's history in that boutique, it's like a gasp of air, fueling my resolve. I will not be erased. The PI uncovers the date for Lumiere's official grand opening party, an exclusive evening event. Invitations have gone out. Amelia is planning a big splash. This is it. My turning point. I could confront him now, with the evidence I have. But that's not enough. I don't just want him caught. I want him exposed. I want everything back. My lawyer and I devise a plan. It's audacious. It's risky. But the thought of him and Amelia celebrating their success, funded by my stolen heirlooms, while I grieve, is unbearable. The law needs to be involved, but in a way that's undeniable, public. I provide the police with my mother's will, detailed descriptions, original valuation certificates, and the photographs of my jewelry, both old family photos showing them being worn and the new ones from inside the boutique. I highlight the unique markings, the history. I explain my suspicion that these items, reported stolen, are currently being held and offered for sale at Lumiere. I emphasize the upcoming grand opening. The police are initially skeptical about intervening at a public event, but the clarity of my documentation, the specific nature of heirlooms, and the clear link to a prior theft report gives them enough to secure a warrant to investigate the premises for stolen goods. The timing will be crucial. The night of the grand opening arrives. A chilly autumn evening. I feel strangely calm, a brittle, icy composure overlaying the turmoil beneath. I'm not going to the party. My role is to wait. The PI is there, posing as a guest, ready to signal my lawyer, who will then alert the police liaison once the event is in full swing and, crucially, once Mark is confirmed to be present and visibly acting as a proud benefactor. I sit in my car, a block away from Lumiere, the engine off. The boutique is brightly lit. Music spills onto the street. Laughter echoes. I see elegantly dressed people arriving, champagne flutes in hand. Mark's car pulls up. He gets out, looking dapper in a new suit, a wide smile on his face. Amelia greets him at the door with a kiss. He presents her with a ridiculously large bouquet of flowers. They look like the happy couple, celebrating their triumph. My stomach churns. I close my eyes, picturing my grandmother's ring, my mother's pearls. This is for them.
For me.
The signal comes. A text from my lawyer. He's there. Showtime. I take a deep breath. My heart is a frantic bird against my ribs. I picture the scene. The police walking in, the music stopping, the confused faces. I imagine Amelia's carefully constructed world starting to crumble. My part of the plan is simple now. Wait for the call that confirms they have secured the premises and are identifying the items. Then and only then will I make my appearance. The minutes stretch into an eternity. Each siren I hear in the distance makes me jump. Finally, my phone rings. It's Detective Miller, the officer who initially took my burglary report. Ma'am, we've entered the premises. We're currently identifying items based on your documentation. It would be beneficial if you could come down to formally identify them in person. And, ma'am, I think you'll want to see this. I drive to Lumiere. The street is no longer festive. Two police cars are parked outside, their lights casting a stark, pulsing blue over the scene. A small crowd of onlookers has gathered. The music is off. The laughter is gone. I walk towards the entrance, an officer holding the door for me. The interior of the boutique, so chic and inviting an hour ago, now feels like a crime scene. Guests are huddled in small, bewildered groups, whispering. Amelia stands near the counter, her face pale, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief. She's arguing with a plainclothes officer, her voice high-pitched and strained. And then I see Mark. He's slumped against a wall, his face ashen. He looks utterly broken, his expensive suit rumpled, his confident smirk vanished. He sees me. His eyes widen, a flicker of understanding, of dawning horror, igniting in their depths. He knows. He knows I did this. Detective Miller approaches me. Mrs. Evans, thank you for coming. We've located several items that match your descriptions and photographs. If you could take a look, he leads me to the display case now open. There lies my gray Tance locket. He gestures to a velvet tray on the counter where other pieces are laid out. My mother's Art Deco earrings, the filigree bracelet, and nestled amongst them, stunning even under the harsh fluorescent lights brought in by the police, my grandmother's engagement ring and her sapphire brooch. My breath catches. Tears spring to my eyes, hot and sudden. Not just tears of grief this time, but of overwhelming relief, of vindication. Yes, I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. These are mine. This is my family's jewelry. Amelia lets out a small, strangled cry. Those were gifts. He told me they were investments for the business, she wails, pointing a trembling finger at Mark. All eyes turn to him. He looks like a cornered animal, his gaze darting between me, Amelia, and the police officers. He opens his mouth, as if to speak, to offer some desperate lie, but no words come out. He just stares, his face a mask of disbelief. He genuinely thought he'd gotten away with it. He thought I was weak, that I'd just accept the loss. He never saw me as a threat. Mr. Evans, Detective Miller says, his voice calm but firm. We need you to come down to the station to answer some questions regarding these items, which were reported stolen several weeks ago. Mark's eyes fix on the jewelry, then on my face. The realization of the totality of his miscalculation, the public nature of his humiliation, the irrefutable evidence laid out before him, seems to crash down on him all at once. His composure, already fragile, shatters completely. His face contorts. He sways. And then, with a choked gasp, his legs buckle. He collapses to the floor, a crumpled heap of expensive fabric and shattered arrogance, right there amidst the glittering evidence of his betrayal. Some of the guests gasp. Amelia screams. For a moment, there's chaos. Paramedics are called as a precaution, though it quickly becomes clear he's conscious, just overwhelmed by shock and the sudden, undeniable reality of his downfall. As they help him to a chair, his eyes, wide and vacant, meet mine one last time. There's no anger there, no defiance. Just a hollow, dawning terror. He knows it's over. Every piece. He thought he was so clever, so invincible. He thought he had outsmarted me. But he hadn't just stolen jewelry. He had stolen pieces of my soul, and I had just reclaimed them along with my power. The aftermath is messy, as aftermaths often are. Mark is charged with theft and fraud. Amelia, after a brief period of intense questioning, is cleared of criminal wrongdoing, painted as another victim of Mark's deceit, though her boutique, tainted by scandal and deprived of its star vintage attractions, quickly folds. The legal proceedings for the divorce are swift. With the criminal charges against him, Mark has no leverage, no ground to stand on. He loses everything. His reputation, his job, his firm doesn't take kindly to partners involved in public scandal and theft, and, of course, me. The jewelry is returned to me. Every last piece. Holding them again is a strange experience. They're still beautiful, still resonant with family history, but now they carry another story, a story of betrayal, but also of resilience, of my fight to reclaim what was mine. they feel heavier, somehow. There's a quiet satisfaction in the justice served, but it's tinged with a deep sadness for the life I thought I had, for the man I believed Mark to be. The betrayal cut deep, leaving scars that will take a long time to fade. But amidst the ruins of my old life, something new is beginning to grow.
Strength I didn't know I possessed.
A clarity about what I want, and what I will never again tolerate. I sell the house we shared. Too many ghosts in those rooms. I find a smaller place, filled with light, a place that is entirely my own. I start wearing some of the jewelry, not just for special occasions, but for myself. A pair of my mother's earrings on a Tuesday, just because. My grandmother's ring, a reminder not just of her love, but of my own enduring spirit. They are no longer just symbols of the past, but of my survival, my quiet victory. The road ahead isn't entirely clear, but for the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of peace, a fragile hope. He tried to take my heritage, my worth, and use it to build a monument to his ego. He collapsed when the truth came out, when the physical symbols of his theft were laid bare. I stood tall. And I'm still standing. If this story hit close to home, if you've ever had to fight for what's yours, I'd love to hear your version. Drop a comment. Thanks for being here with me through this. Subscribing really does help bring more of these stories to life, and I appreciate every single one of you.